Have you ever just looked in the mirror and gotten so tired of the labels? Being called too slim or too curvy or whatever. Well, today, we're throwing all that judgment right out the window. We're going to dive straight into the real biology behind our body shapes. I mean, it's a question pretty much all of us ask at some point, right? Why is my body shaped like this? We wonder what it means for our health, for our fitness, for our future. And here's the thing, your body shape isn't just about how you look. Not even close. It's actually a roadmap to how your body stores fat, how it builds muscle, and how it responds to food and exercise. And that roadmap, it comes with some incredible hidden strengths you can tap into, and some weaknesses you absolutely need to know about. And that's really our goal here. By the time we're done, you're going to see your body's unique design less like something you have to fight against, and more like a user manual you finally get to read. So you ready? Let's crack open that manual and get started. Okay. First things first, let's clear up a really common point of confusion. You've probably heard all the terms, right? Apples, pears, but then you also hear ectomorphs, endomorphs. Well, they aren't the same thing at all, and figuring out the difference is kind of crucial. So here's the simplest way to think about it. Body shapes like apple or pear, that's all about your structure. It's your blueprint. It tells you where your skeleton is wider or narrower and where your body likes to stash away fat. But somatypes, ectomorph, mesomorph, that's about your engine. It describes your metabolic tendencies, basically how your body reacts to food and exercise. And of course, most of us are a unique blend of both. So let's start with the stuff we can actually see, the patterns we notice when we look in the mirror. We're going to explore where your body tends to store extra energy and what that tells us about your underlying biology. All right, first up, the apple shape, sometimes called the inverted triangle. This is a super common pattern for both men and women, and it's pretty much all about your body holding onto wheat in your upper half. So you might be an apple shape if you're constantly finding that shirts are tighter on you than your pants are. You've got broader shoulders, and when you gain a little weight, it seems to go straight to your midsection while your legs stay pretty much the same. Sound familiar? And right away, we see the classic trade-off. Let's start with a strength. A naturally powerful upper body. This is amazing for sports like rowing, swimming, even boxing. But the weakness, and this is a big one, is that central fat. We're talking especially about the deep, visceral fat, the kind that wraps around your vital organs. This stuff is way more metabolically active, it can trigger inflammation, and it's strongly linked to a higher risk of heart disease and type 2 diabetes. So the whole game is about using that upper body strength while making sure you protect your internal and Okay, so let's flip that on its head. We're going to shift our focus from the upper body down to the lower body and talk about the pear shape, or the triangle. You'll know this is you if your hips are wider than your shoulders, you've got fuller thighs, and a pretty well-defined waist. When you gain weight, it tends to show up on your hips and thighs first. You're probably all too familiar with jeans being tight on your legs but gapping at the waist, right? And yep, you guessed it, another set of trade-offs. The strength is a super powerful lower body. Think about it. It's perfect for things like hiking, cycling, and sprinting. And from a health perspective, the fat stored on the lower body, that's called subcutaneous fat, is generally way less risky for your heart. But the weakness? Well, all that power and structure puts more mechanical stress day in and day out on your knees, your hips, and your ankles. Moving on, let's talk about the rectangle shape. You might hear it called the straight or athletic shape, and it's really all about balance and symmetry. So if this is you, your shoulders, waist, and hips are all pretty similar in width. Your waist isn't super defined, and when you gain or lose weight, it tends to happen pretty evenly all over. Now, the big advantage here, and I think it's an underrated one, is that symmetry. Because your weight is distributed so evenly, there's less focused strain on any single joint, which makes this frame great for a massive variety of sports. The thing you have to watch out for, though, is bone health. If you're very lean or you're not eating enough, you can be more vulnerable to lower bone density. This is why, for you, strength training isn't just a good idea, it's absolutely non-negotiable. And finally, let's get to the one everyone talks about, the hourglass shape. But we're going to skip right past the fashion magazine stuff and look at what's really going on with the biology. So, the key traits here are pretty straightforward. Balanced shoulders and hips with a waist that's clearly smaller. And just like the rectangle shape, that balance is generally pretty kind to your joints. But here's the catch, and it's a subtle one. Because your overall shape tends to stay balanced even when you gain weight, those visual red flags for internal health problems, things like central obesity, they might not be as obvious. They can sneak up on you. Okay, so we've covered the visual shapes, the blueprint. Now it's time to shift gears and talk about the somatypes, the engine. Remember, this is less about how you look and way more about how your body responds to everything you do. All right, let's break these down one by one. First up, the ectomorph. These are your typically lean folks with a faster metabolism. They often find it really hard to gain either muscle or fat. Their superpower is endurance, but the big challenge is that building strength and size can feel like a super slow grind. Next, we've got the mesomorph. You know these people, they seem to build muscle just by walking past a dumbbell. Their strength is that their body just responds to training quickly and efficiently. The challenge? It can lead to overconfidence because their bodies can also store fat pretty efficiently if they're not on top of their nutrition and activity. And finally, the endomorph. These folks tend to have softer, rounder frames and are often just naturally strong, especially in their lower body. But the challenge is a metabolism that is really, really good at storing energy, which makes it easier to gain fat and, a bit harder to lose it.
So after hearing about all of these different strengths and weaknesses, you're probably thinking okay, so which one is the best one? It's the natural question, right? Surely one of them has to be the winner.
And the honest-to-God answer is none of them. There is no best shape. There's no perfect body type. There are just different blueprints, each with its own set of trade-offs. Look, your health isn't decided by the outline of your body. It's decided by your daily habits. Your body type isn't some life sentence. It's just the frame. What you choose to build inside that frame, well, that's entirely up to you. So let's stop asking, is my body good or bad? It's the wrong question. The right question is, okay, now that I know my body's natural tendencies, how do I play to my strengths and shore up my weaknesses? This is the part where we turn all this information into an actual action plan. So let's make this super practical. If you lean more towards an apple shape or endomorph, your number one priority is heart health. That means consistent cardio and a diet full of whole foods. If you're more of a pear shape, the name of the game is protecting your joints. Keep strengthening those powerful legs, but maybe lean into lower impact stuff like cycling or swimming. For all the rectangles and ectomorphs out there, your mantra is build and maintain bone density. Resistance training needs to be a regular part of your life. It's not optional. And for the hourglass and mesomorph types, it's all about balance and awareness. Stick with well-rounded routines and make sure you're keeping an eye on your internal health markers, not just what the scale says or how your clothes fit. And if you take away only one thing today, please let it be this. Your body shape is not a verdict on your health. It's not good, it's not bad, it doesn't define your worth or what you're capable of. It's simply your starting map. That's it. It's a map that shows you where the hills are, where the smooth paths are, where you're naturally strong, and where you might need to pack a little extra water for the journey. So the only thing that really matters now is what you do with that map. How are you going to use this new understanding? Maybe it's choosing a better workout for your body, or setting a more realistic goal. Or maybe it's just about being a little bit kinder to yourself. So I'll leave you with this question. Looking at your own starting map, what's one small positive change you're going to make this week?